Hello and welcome all to Tales from the Time Traveler's Tavern. I will be your guide and navigator, Mr.E, taking you on this informative journey. Informative of what? We still don't know. But that's why I have had the good fortune to bring along with me the colorful commentary of our internet guru, my good friend Toast.
Butter is optional.
There you go. And to the other side, we have Private Snafu.
Good day, Mr.E. Good day, Toast.
Alright, now we're going to go down a traveling line of science fiction or science fiction and all that kind of good stuff. They go, get the same result. He's like, I gotta get somebody else. He goes and he gets another radiologist. The other radiologist looks at the results and he's like, oh, they just finished checking the last machine you were at. They say there's nothing wrong. Let's just try one more time. Find out what happens. So they try one more time. Sure enough, same results. So finally they go back up to the doc. They hand him the 3 x-rays. He said, these x-rays are exactly the same. They said, we know. Now you have to go ask her about it. And he went, oh man. So he goes in and he says, ma'am, I have to ask you some personal questions. She said, okay. And he said, the first question I have to ask is, are you sexually active? Yes. Okay. Next one's a little harder. Do you masturbate? Well, yes. Yes, I do. When you masturbate, do you use a 2-liter bottle of soda? Why, yes. How did you know? Well, how they knew is because it was showing up in the x-ray. She got drunk one night and got it lodged.
No.
If you saw that on an x-ray, the first thing you would think is, this machine is lying to me. So yeah. Now the funny, interesting postscript to that story is a couple of years back, went to the shop that's out that way, that's for adults interested in toys or memorabilia.
Oh, out towards Milwaukee?
No. That's Milwaukee's that way.
Oh, Oshkosh.
No, Oshkosh is that way. Think more Dodge County.
I'd say, no, driving up to the cabin there's 3 or 2.
It'd be the first one. It'd be the first one you hit heading toward the north. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Depending on where you take off from. If you're taking off from 33 or D, yeah, it'd be the first one you hit.
You're talking about one off 28?
I think so. I'm not positive.
Is that the one that used to be the pipe
No.
plumber? No, that was towards Milwaukee, right?
The one off 28 used to be a gas station way back in the day. That's the same one that one of the guys I know, when he was doing over the road trucking, I had his wife with him. They're driving by and just takes the CB. Just sees a truck parked there. He just goes, pervert. And the response he gets back immediately is just some guy going, "Who's a pervert?" It's like funny. He's like, because not only was it a who's the pervert, but it had that thick Southern accent, and it was the stereotypical backwoods hick sound.
Yeah.
Those people,
But
when you get them excited, they speak so fast and it's really hard to understand them. Like, oh my god.
oh, you're talking about like the Boomhauer effect?
No, not the Boomhauer effect. That the dang all. No. Like
Where you can pick out certain words, but all the rest of it is gibberish.
kind of. But like, there's one guy where in AIT and BCT, when we got him talking about his truck, like it was 1,000,000 words per second, and I was like, I do not understand anything that you are saying. It's like.
Okay, I have a story for that as well, but
back to your
yeah, we'll get back to that in a second. So I'm at this place, and I look over, having heard this story before, and I look over and I see what is in fact the largest vibrator I've ever seen in my life that was not intended for industrial purposes. So this is purpose-built for that sort of stuff, but is in fact as wide as a 2-liter bottle of soda. Not as long, but as wide. And I go up to the person running the joint, and I'm like, okay, I'm not interested in these machines, but I'm curious about them. And he said, okay. And I said, why? And he said, do you want to know the more disturbing part? And I said, I'm almost afraid to say it, but yes. And he said, commonly when those are bought, they are bought for anal use. And I said, there are questions in my mind, questions that part of me wants to ask, and the rest of me does not want to know the answer. The question, by the way, is, how do you know this? The other part of me was like, no. No portion of whatever answer comes out of their mouth could ever make it better or worse. Well, probably worse, but not better.
If I were to go to one of those shops, I would not want anybody knowing I was there. Like, I wouldn't speak of it. Or
we weren't really there for purchase. It was kind of a, we're bored, let's go somewhere. Well, there's this place.
Why? Why would you go there?
How about this one? Because they got a blow-up doll that is literally a purple alien with 3 tits. So it's like...
That doesn't help your case.
That's just for people who like the movie Total Recall.
Yeah. It's just... It's a weird... It's a place that you go that's... It's got weird stuff, and they have certain other memorabilia that, we used to purchase.
And that's sort of the reason why people do go to some of them, is they have a lot of stuff for bachelorette parties. That's a lot of lingerie.
Yep.
It's also one of the first places you can actually buy vape stuff.
Lingerie,
as in sexy underwear. Victoria's Secrets has built their empire on. Started out being able to only be bought in those shops here in the States. And certain select fashion boutiques, but the most common place to find them was there on the cheap and on the down low. But
I was just thinking of the Futurama joke with that.
What's that?
When they go looking for Fry's nose.
Oh, okay.
That moment of hey, I may be a pervert, but I'm an honest pervert. Just show us the tapes. What tapes? Don't make it. Fine. I just like the I may be a pervert, but I'm an honest pervert.
Yeah. Speaking of going a million miles a minute, I had a roommate in Fond du Lac. Mm-hmm. We're still friends. Guy's name is not important. I will say his initials are PM. And not post-mortem. Oh. His last name is Mulholland. But when I purchased my first Christmas tree outside of my family home, that was purchased specifically just for me, my sisters showed up with decoration that they had pulled with permission from my dad's tree so that I would have a small piece of home at Christmas. And so they're talking to me, and I'm listening and responding. And my friend said that it was the most surreal thing he'd ever seen in his life, because he was listening to my sisters, who were talking as quickly as could possibly be imagined for a human to be talking.
Yeah.
And they weren't apparently, to his ear, taking a breath, because they were doing what's known as circular breathing while they were talking. So very few pauses. But he said it was so surreal because of the fact that he was listening and watching them talk, and then he would look to me, and he would be seeing. He wouldn't be able to pick out what word they were saying, but he was sitting there watching me, leaning against a wall, going, "Yeah, no, I don't care." Down the hall. It's the only door on the left. And he said, "Wait, stop! No, stop talking." Says to my sisters. Looks at me and he says, "Okay, translate." And I said, "Okay, this, and she needs to use the bathroom." and he's like, How did you get all this?" And I said, "First off, you have to remember that yes, they are talking very fast. Because of the fact that they're talking very fast, they very often repeat themselves. So even if you miss something, you'll pick it up on the next go around." And number 3, dude, I grew up with it. Of course I can listen to this and respond normally.
Sometimes when I start speaking and I get excited about something, I stop breathing, and then I have to pause to take a breath in the middle of what I'm saying, and then I'll keep on going.
Mm-hmm. It was funny. I don't know if you remember Ouija. Now you got it. Okay. I was talking with her on the phone one day, and I had to go, G, stop. Have you had your medication today? And she said, No, I haven't. And then she went, "How are you able to keep up with me?" So apparently it's a skill I never lost. But yeah, she always reminded me of Pillsy Squirrel from Ill Will Press.
Never seen it.
Neurotically Yours. It's a series I would recommend you look. Very funny. All right, well, we got anything else?
I got stuff, but it takes a lot longer to discuss it. Mostly because I don't make your head explode.
As in, too much for me to comprehend, or...
Yeah, especially because as I explain to other people, I have to keep circling back to explain more points, because we've never really talked about actual time travel portions.
No, that won't end well. Maybe if I have some lore then maybe things will...
Oh, so if we get you hammered...
Some of my worst and some of my best ideas come from there.
Reminds me of the Homer Simpson quote.
Alcohol.
The cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Yeah.
But like I said,
Go for it. I got time.
Well, I like the more, depending on where you want to start with all of it, because the first question I always ask people when they start talking about time travel is which version they're looking at, because there are different styles.
Okay.
So what matters here is you go back in time, you don't screw anything up, and you come back to normal time, and everything's okay.
That's called causality timeline.
Well, the question there is when you say you go back in time, don't change anything. Are you talking about just in general? Because you have the butterfly effect,
Right.
which is it's from the story A Sound of Thunder, where they go back in time. A guy gets spooked, steps on a butterfly. When he comes back to the present, instead of being everything's normal, everybody's really stupid and violent because it's just that's how things are. But because he stepped on that butterfly, it had an effect on the next thing, on the next thing, on the next thing, on the next thing. Another way to look at it is, I would have to look up the name of the movie, but I mean, another way to look at it is something along the lines of like Terminator, where in the first movie, the Terminator's sent back in time, then the other guy is sent back basically to counter that and basically help out. But by being sent back in time, he becomes John Connor's father. Because John Connor is the one who sends him back in time. That's basically a predestination paradox.
Yeah. Otherwise known as a bootstrap paradox, right?
Kinda. I say, though, if you want a good movie for that, watch the movie Predestination, because the main 4 characters of the story are the same person.
The reason it's called a bootstrap paradox is because without one specific event happening, the rest of everything of time can't happen.
Think of it as A causes B, B causes C, C causes A. So
but you still need A to start everything off in the beginning.
But the problem with that is the fact that, depending on how you look at it, those types of paradoxes have no beginning and no end.
Right. I mean,
I
thought it was one where ultimately, in order to survive, they have to become circular, but they don't have to necessarily start circular.
The problem with that is for it to be circular, it always has to have been that way.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way it works.
Mm.
True. It's just because of how things run. I mean, think along the lines of Futurama with Fry. Like I'm taking lessons in causality from Mr. I'm my own grandpa over here.
Yeah.
Where it's does it really matter?
Huh.
But, because you have that sort of setup, but then you also have one along the lines of, like I say, I've read a lot of stuff. There's a book I read, I'm trying to remember what the name of it is, but the whole basis of it is they determine, okay, we can open up these portals, they're portals to another time. It's not portals to another time, it's portals to a parallel dimension. You're not actually traveling in time, you just happen to be going to a neighboring dimension that is basically like 10 years back. That's about it.
That reminds me of a little comic online, where it's like 3 scientists were all, in one room, and they're like, okay, we're gonna send somebody back. So the one scientist goes back, and they radio him in, and they're like, so have you gone forwards or backwards in time? And he sees a Triceratops. He's like, oh, I've gone backwards in time. The Triceratops pulls out a gun and starts shooting at him. He's like, maybe I've gone sideways in time.
But there's that. I mean, the other way to look at it is, like I said, it's that moment of I know I've read something on it, but think of it along the lines of, let's say you go back 20 years in the past, and you affect some change, and then you jump back to the now. You come back 20 years in the future. You come back and nothing has changed yet, because it's actually a wavefront effect that's slowly moving through time. So it'll eventually catch up to you. So you have enough time to realize, oh, my initial thing I did turns out really badly. I can still go back and fix it. A good example is Red Dwarf.
Yeah, but you can't necessarily go through the wavefront.
Red Dwarf has their episode with the JFK assassination.
Right.
Where what they do is the first time they go back, I think they accidentally stop the JFK assassination.
Right. No. It's that the first time they accidentally kill Lee Harvey Oswald, which stops the...
Right. But
then the second time...
But then they go back and they find out, basically the consequences. But they still remember everything because the wavefront hasn't really caught them.
Right. And then they go back again, set up playing cards, and Lee Harvey Oswald has to go up one more floor, which changes the pitch angle of his shot, which causes him to fail. So they go through this whole thing. Eventually, JFK ends up indicted for his ties to the mob, and they rescue him from federal custody and say, well, we've got a choice. We can leave you in federal custody, or we can take you back to the point that you were supposed to die. And so he chooses to be the second gunman on the grassy knoll. He said, I love that line too, because he's like, it'll drive the conspiracy theorists nuts. Well, what are you gonna do?
I see, but that's another way to look at it, where you can't affect things all the time, but it has to eventually. But it takes a while for everything.
All right. Well, on that note of fact, validation, and verification, any other shuns we should add to that? Parting words, Snafu?
I don't know. It's above my pay grade.
Okay. And Toast?
I can't believe it's not butter.
All right then. Once again, this has been your navigator and guide, Mr. E. Thank you for joining Tales from the Time Traveler's Tavern. So that's it.
You've